Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Skolma. I teach 4th grade over in Granville, and today I'm going to teach you about probability. So let's begin by looking at the definition. Probability is defined as the chance that something will happen, or how likely it is that some event will occur or will happen. To understand that better, let's look at something called a likelihood line. There are certain things that are impossible. There are other things that are unlikely to happen. Some things are kind of 50-50. You have kind of a chance of it happening, chance that it won't. There are certain things that likely will happen, and there are things that will certainly happen. So let's look at some examples of each. It is impossible for me to throw a football all the way around the world. I just can't do it. I don't have enough arm strength, so on and so forth. It is unlikely that tomorrow will be 80 degrees. It is starting to warm up here in Michigan. It is spring. It's been up to 40s, 50s, but likely March 12th, 13th, whatever it is, will not be 80 degrees. It's kind of maybe a 50-50% chance that it will be sunny tomorrow. There's some sunny days, there's some cloudy days as you transition into spring, so maybe it will be sunny tomorrow. It's not that far-fetched that it would, but it's not surprising if it's not. Things that are likely, I'm very likely to drive my truck tomorrow. I drive a Ford F-150, and I need to use it to get to work or to the store, so on and so forth. So unless school is canceled for some reason and I end up just staying in the house all day, I am likely to drive my truck tomorrow. Something that's certain. I am 33 years old right now. My birthday is February 12, so tomorrow I will certainly 100% chance of still being 33. So you can see what probability is a little bit better by looking at a likelihood line. Well, let's look at some real-life examples of when we use probability. One example of this is in sports. Maybe many of you like sports, and you know the coin flip at the beginning of the game, a quarter or a coin has two sides, so there's a 50-50 shot, kind of in that maybe range, of landing on one side or the other. So if the coin gets flipped up into the air, and a player calls heads, there's a 50-50 shot that it will land on heads. Another thing that they might factor into probability with sports is if you're looking at kicking a field goal, maybe at the end of a football game to win the game. If you're at the 20-yard line, the probability of making that field goal is high, so you'll probably kick it. If you're at the 50-yard line, and maybe your kicker's really good, but the probability of making that long of a field goal is much less probable, so the coach would kind of weigh the odds. What's the probability of him actually making it versus what should we just throw a Hail Mary? Okay, so that's some instances of probability in sports. In board games, sometimes you have to roll a dice. Or roll dice or a die and see, maybe you need to get a 2 or something to move 2 spots, and you can figure out what's the probability of rolling a 2. Or if you have a game with a spinner, what's the probability of the spinner landing in the blue section? You can figure out the probability of those factors. Another example of probability used in the real world, in medical decisions. If there's a surgery and you hear that 95% of the time it's successful and whatever the surgery is being done on is fixed, you're likely going to go with that right off the bat. That 95% chance or probability that it'll be a successful surgery, you're going to run with it. Whereas if you have a probability of 50% chance of this surgery being successful, or maybe only a 10% chance, you might not take that risk. With insurance premiums, there's probabilities. Like it or not, young drivers tend to get in more accidents than people who have been driving for a while with more experience. So insurance rates and the cost of insurance is higher for somebody who's 16 or 17 or 18 because they have a higher probability of getting in some form of accident. So you can see how insurance agencies factor in some probability with age. Life expectancy, there's probability in that too. I think men are expected to live somewhere up into the their mid 70s, and women maybe even they're probable to live into their early 80s. Not guaranteed, but that's a probable age range. Oops, sorry. Let me get back where I want to be. If you get married someday, you might want to know what's the probability of rain the next day, because if the bride gets all dressed up in her white dress and she doesn't bring an umbrella, she might be a little mad. So you might want to check what's the probability of rain, or so on and so forth. So enough about some real world examples. Let's try probability ones. Here you have an image of some M&Ms. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 M&Ms. Okay? If I put all these M&Ms in a brown paper bag and I couldn't see them, and I reach my hand in, the probability of me pulling out a blue M&M is 3 out of 13, because 3 out of the 13 M&Ms are blue. So it's quite unlikely that when I put my hand in there, I'm going to pull out a blue one. There's a better chance of me pulling out either an orange or a yellow or red, a green or a brown. Okay, well, let's flip that. What if I said, what's the probability of me pulling out something, an M&M, that's not brown? So if I pulled out a green, a yellow, an orange, a red, or a blue, what's the probability of me reaching in and pulling out one of those colors? Well, now I'm likely to pull out one of those colors over the brown, because it's a 11 out of 13 chance of pulling out a colored one versus a brown one. Okay. Another place where you might see probability is a game show called Deal or No Deal. Okay, this was a popular game show maybe 3-4 years ago. Maybe you're familiar with it. Otherwise, likely your parents or grandparents are. And so let me just kind of show you how this works. And then if you have internet access, or if your doctors or the staff there who are running the lessons have computers for you, maybe you can get onto this website too, and I'll share it with them, and you can try to figure out the probability as you go. So to start out with Deal or No Deal, you have 26 cases, and in each one of these cases is a dollar amount. Okay, so one of these cases has $1 million. And so you try to pick the one that you think has $1 million. Obviously, it's just a random guess. You have a 1 in 26 chance of getting the $1 million. So a very low probability. So I'm just going to pick, my favorite number is 9. So I'm going to pick the case 9. Now I have to select 6 cases to remove. Okay? So I still have a 1 in 26 chance of having the $1 million in my case. So hopefully I won't pull the million the first try. Okay, so now one case is gone. I know it's the $1 million is not in that case, so I now have a 1 in 25 chance of having the $1 million. Okay, and I'll keep going. Okay, that's not a good one to draw, but the $1 million is still out there. Okay. This part doesn't factor into the probability. This is just part of the game. He's making you an offer. He's trying to buy the case from you. He's saying, I'll give you $15,000. Obviously, that's not real money. So on and so forth. But we're going to keep playing and say no deal. And if we look at it now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cases. And I have one of them. So I have a 1 in 20 shot of having the $1 million. Let's keep going. Maybe I got it. Still out there. I'm doing really good, so the banker's probably going to offer me a lot of money. So it's kind of a fun game to play too. And I'm going to say no deal. And so now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cases. So I have a 1 in 15 shot of having the $1 million. Now, if you wanted to challenge yourself, you could figure out how to make that into a decimal and then how to make that into a percent. So you could give me a percentage. What's the percent chance that I actually have the $1 million in my case? I'm giving you a fraction, 1 in, I think I said 15. So let's keep going. If I stop now, you might be mad at me. Okay. Still out there. And going to... that's a good one to take, but we're not going for that right now. We're looking at the probability. And now... And if you didn't notice on that last case, the $1 million was in there. So now there is a 0% chance of me having the $1 million in my case because the $1 million has already been shown. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cases. And in those 8 cases, there's a 0% chance we have the $1 million. There's a chance that I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have a 1 in 8 chance of having the penny. So let's see if maybe I have the penny. Oh, there's the penny. So you can see and you can adjust the probability and the chance and the percentage of what you have in your case as you go. So it's a good, fun way to play around with probability. So go ahead, have fun with it. Hope you learned a little bit about probability and have a good day. Take care.